Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. 888-589-8840, the number if you want to join the program. 888-589-8840. I want to get into some clips on what's going on with the political landscape in D.C. First of all, this just cracks me up. I mean, liberals, ladies and gentlemen, they're funny. They just crack you up without even trying to be funny. They're hilarious. Now, here is Beyonce. Now, Beyonce is a bud with Michelle Obama. They are tight. And she is a spokeswoman for Michelle Obama's anti-fat kid initiative, the Let's Move Healthy Kids campaign, the anti-obesity campaign that Michelle Obama is all hot to trot on. Well, Beyonce has got a $50 million contract with Pepsi-Cola. So how that fits exactly with Michelle's anti-fat kid agenda, I'm not sure. I get paid $50 million to promote Pepsi-Cola. Now here's the story I just found today on Fox News, Lori Tarkan, about drinking soda is linked not only to obesity, but also to depression. A new study found that those who drink a fair amount of sweetened sodas and fruit drinks, ladies and gentlemen, whether diet or regular, have an increased risk of depression, while coffee, on the other hand, actually lowers your risk of depression and suicide. It's interesting. It says here that the risk of depression was greater for those who drink diet soda. Remember, diet soda is supposed to be the thing that's good for you. Well, it increases your risk of depression. So the risk was higher with those who drank diet soda rather than regular soda. It was higher for those who drank diet fruit drinks instead of sugar-sweetened fruit drinks, and diet rather than regular iced tea. Now, I've told people I've got very few rules in life, but one of the rules that I have in my life is a hard and fast rule. Never violate this rule. I never eat or drink anything that is advertised as low-cal, light, or diet. Life is way too short for that. I'd much rather eat less of something that tastes good than eat more of something that tastes like sheetrock. So that is a principle of mine. So it's interesting. You got Beyonce, according to Fox News, she's out there making kids fat and depressed both and getting $50 million to boot to do it. Now, let's go back to the sound bites. Let's grab clip number 6. One of the big problems, this is Jay Carney, one of the big problems that Barack Obama has is the New York Times showed a picture of Barack Obama's top advisors, and every one of them was a guy. Every one of them was a male. And the New York Times had a big picture of that. So quickly, Obama hustled together and found 3 women to sit in the Oval Office. They got another picture taken. The New York Times published that today. Had 8 people in the room. 3 of them were women. But the feminists are upset with Barack Obama because he's stacking his cabinet with old white males. I mean, John Kerry, he's an old white male. He's going to be the next Secretary of State. Chuck Hagel, next Secretary of Defense. He's an old white male. John Brennan, the guy that's up for being CIA director, is an old white male. And the feminists are actually starting to make a little bit of noise out of this deal. And I'm looking at this picture from the New York Times. 9, his closest advisors, every one of them is a guy. This was in the New York Times yesterday, so they come out with another one today where there are 3 women and 5 men in the Oval Office counseling President Obama. And we've talked about this before, but it's worth revisiting that not only does the Obama administration lack diversity, gender diversity, top heavy with men, they also pay women on the White House staff far less than they pay men. And this goes all the way back to President Obama's 2008 campaign. Remember, Barack Obama's out there making a big deal out of this Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act. Meanwhile, a report published by the Washington Free Beacon in April, the 2011 annual report on White House staffers revealed that the median annual salary for female White House employees was 18% less than male employees, 80,000 compared to 71,000. Then in the 2008 campaign, columnist DeRoy Murdoch wrote that female staffers in Obama's U.S. Senate office were also shortchanged. Obama's average male employee earned $54,000. The 30 female employees earned $45,152 on average. That's about a $10,000 differential. That's also pushing 20%. And remember, Valerie Jarrett one time said that if it weren't for the president, this place, talking about the Oval Office, would be in court as a hostile workplace. This was actually Anita Dunn, former spokesman for Barack Obama, because it actually fit all, this is a quote, fit all of the classic legal requirements for a genuinely hostile workplace to women. Now here's Jay Carney. They got some image problems here on this gender deal. Jay Carney, clip 6, explaining how in the world this happened.
I can say that, as I did yesterday, that the president values diversity, believes it's important because it enhances the quality of the pool of potential nominees for positions across the administration. He believes that by looking broadly for candidates for offices that he ups the chances that he'll find the very best person for the job. And I think that the diversity of his administration, both at the cabinet level and here at the White House and elsewhere, reflects a process that was designed to allow him to find the very best candidates. And he thinks that diversity enhances the process itself, the policy process, because it sort of increases the likelihood of a broader discussion, potentially. But the goal in the end is to find the very best individuals for these specific positions. And he feels he has done that with Secretary Hagel, with John Brennan, with Senator Kerry. I think I said Secretary Hagel, getting ahead of myself, Senator Hagel. And that will be what guides him as he makes further decisions.
You know, what's interesting to me is he sounds like a Republican. He's making Obama sound like it's all a meritocracy. We're just out there to get the best qualified person for the job, and that's where you're at, that's where I am at. I don't care about gender. I don't care about age. I don't care about color. I don't care about ethnic background. What I care about is merit, ability. Find the best person for the job. That is a conservative principle, and notice that that's what they resort to defend the fact that they've got this blatant, overt lack of diversity. Every other time you hear President Obama talking about it, he talks about diversity as if it were a standalone value. If diversity alone was an asset, well, that means nothing. Because what if you have diverse people and every one of them is inept? They're incompetent. They can't think or work their way out of a paper sack. Diversity has actually hurt your cause, not helped it. So now that they've got this diversity problem to explain, well, we're just going for the best qualified person. And, you know, it's kind of, you know, you look at it from their worldview, this is a slam on women. When they go out to look for the best qualified person, what do they find? In every case, it's a guy. So they don't even realize what they're saying about women. We went to look for the best qualified individuals. We couldn't find one single woman who was the best qualified person for the job. So anyway, that's just kind of curious to me how that all works. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Stephen. Stephen, welcome to Focal Point in New Albany, Mississippi. Welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
Appreciate you taking my call. Appreciate what you do there on the radio, crossing politics with the Bible and showing how they relate to one to another. You know, what you was talking about there, that last topic, it's interesting how liberals, you know, if you don't live up to their standards, they cry foul to the heavens. But, you know, if they don't live up to their standards, suddenly it's hush, hush, and let's talk about something else, you know. Let's not pay that any attention. But I was thinking about, you know, the Republicans and the media and how they deal with it. And it frustrates me to no end to watch how Republicans deal with the media and conservatives in general. To me, and when I say the media, I mean the majority of the mainstream media, which is very biased, of course. They, it's like they don't understand these people are not their friends. I understand we're all Americans and we're not trying to cut one another's throats literally, but these people have an ideology that they're trying to overthrow what you believe. And
well, and I think you've touched on something there, Stephen. What I think conservatives ought to do is simply ignore the mainstream media. Use the mainstream media, but don't feel compelled that you have to answer the questions that they are asking you or play the game on their turf. If they're going to talk to you, if they're going to ask you a question, then talk over them, talk past them directly to the American people. Simply use them as a microphone or a megaphone. Don't even talk to them. Don't even try to answer their question if it's the wrong question. Talk to the American people and use the platform they've given you, not as an opportunity to play the game on their turf, but to ignore their turf and go directly for the minds and hearts of the American people.
Yeah, I mean, figure out that they have an angle here, that they're not just honest arbiters trying to objectively report a story, but recognize them for what they are. Regardless of what they may claim, we know better than that. I mean, the research shows better than that. And that sounds like a I guess my strategy I had in mind was what I wanted to suggest was stop talking to them. And that's kind of like what you said, but I just wanted to suggest, maybe I remember you're a baseball fan. And you may remember several years ago, the Yankees had just won a big game. Reporter came up to ask a Yankee a question, and the guy said, "You know what? We're not going to talk to you." And it was because they reported something about one of their teammates or their manager, something that hacked them off.
Yeah, and they just said, we're not going to talk to you.
Yeah, and that made an impression, and maybe it's time the Republicans make a statement and say, look, we know you guys game, and, for a definite period or maybe an indefinite period, we're not going to talk to you. Because
all right.
until you can show you're more than the PR firm for the liberal agenda.
Yeah. Well, that's good, Stephen. That's a good suggestion. That's one of the reasons why I think it's important that we have alternative media like Focal Point, the American Family Radio Talk Network, Fox News, other talk radio outlets, because it provides an opportunity for conservatives to have a voice in the media, and they can bypass the mainstream media. Thanks, Stephen, for the call. Focal Point AFR Talk, back in 2.